Namaste everyone. I welcome you all to this part 3 of module 3, that is concept of Platonic love. Platonic love is one of the most widely known concepts in Plato's philosophy. It is a wonderful outcome of his philosophy. This concept is widely used across the cultures, but at the same time this concept is widely misunderstood also and strayed from its original meaning throughout the process. Plato believed that love is the motivation that leads one to try to know and contemplate beauty in itself. This happens through a gradual process that begins with an appreciation of the appearance of physical beauty and then moves on to an appreciation of spiritual beauty. Moving through these steps culminates in the passionate, pure and disinterested knowledge of the essence of beauty, which remains incorruptible and always equal to itself, the knowledge of the idea of beauty. Plato presented his idea about love in a symposium. Symposium is an event where Greek people used to gather to celebrate, enjoy, drink and discuss ideas. Plato presented his ideas in front of Socrates, his teacher, and other great philosophers. In Plato's words, love is not an end in and of itself, but only a means to achieve the supreme concept of beauty. This is a ladder of love. So, there are few steps. The first step is physical beauty. Plato says that sense unleash eros. Eros is love. It means Plato does not reject physical dimension of love, as many falsely interpret. This is a fundamental stage and is necessary in order to reach the supreme idea. In the second step, one goes from looking for beauty in a particular body to looking for beauty in multiple bodies, thus forging a categorical notion of beauty and prompting the search for the idea behind this notion. The third step is the one that passes from the physical body to the beauty of the soul. In this state, the person learns to love the soul despite the physical aspect of beauty. In fourth step, Plato elevates love to a very different scale since it enters the world of ethics. The love is beautiful souls increases moral beauty. In the fifth step, Plato passes from the rules of conduct to beautiful knowledge referring to institutions and a love for government or nation. The sixth step starts from the beautiful knowledge and uses science to reach a delight in the beauty of knowledge and understanding. And in the last, that is seventh step, the idea of beauty comes into harmony with the universe. It passes from the world to the cosmic category. In this phase, beauty takes on the hue of vision and experience through the lens of philosophy. In order to understand Plato's philosophy of good and love, one must go back to his theory of form of soul. The reality according to Plato is not the world that we perceive with our senses, but some eternal entities. These entities are forms. Knowledge about the world is the knowledge about the forms. Here forms means ideas. This world or universe is not random, but purposive, and the highest knowledge is attaining everything for good and for the fulfillment of its being. And even today, all things are existed in a single world. So, there must be one single good which everyone must strive to achieve. This single good is the absolute good or beauty, the highest form in which all other realities to be explained. So, the greatest love is not what lovers carry away sense of beauty, but a harmony which directs all beings towards the best of all possible end. Hence, the concept of Platonic love is closely related to the symbol of the cave. The prisoner who had escaped from the cave and shadows is the only one who comprehends what truth and beauty are. The former prisoner had escaped the first step of love represented by the life inside the cave. And when this former prisoner finally discovers the sun, it is said that he has reached the understanding of beauty. Like Platonic love, there is a theory of Platonic forms. This is the base for all his thoughts and ideas. The Platonic forms are just ideas of things that actually exist. They represent what each individual thing is supposed to be like in order to be that specific thing. For example, the form of human shows qualities one must have in order to be human. It is a depiction of idea of humanness, but no actual human is the perfect representation of the form human. They are similar, but every human being is different and none are perfectly human. Like this, everything in the world has forms and they are the essence of various objects. Forms are the qualities that an object must have to be considered that type of object. For example, there are countless chairs in different shapes and sizes in the world, but the form of chairness is at the core of all chairs. Though no one has ever seen a perfect circle nor a perfectly straight line, everyone knows that what a circle and a straight lines are. Plato uses this evidence that his forms are real. Forms are the purest representation of all things. Plato believed that true knowledge or intelligence is the ability to grasp the world of forms with one's mind. Forms have no orientation in space, nor do they have a location. They are non-physical, but they are extra mental ideas, means they are real in the true sense of the word. Plato's theory of knowledge. Plato's theory of knowledge cannot be found systematically expressed and completely elaborated in any one dialogue. On the other hand, in many of his dialogues, Plato has explained his concept of knowledge. He labels it as episteme, and this is something different from our belief, to which he labels doxa. Plato says that knowledge is something everyone should aspire. In his various dialogues, he has described knowledge in different ways. In Meno and Republic, he says that knowledge is more valuable than any belief. He further says that knowledge is harder to achieve than beliefs. Sometimes beliefs are false, but knowledge is not. To acquire knowledge, we have to replace beliefs with reason. He also says that knowledge is true beliefs. In some other dialogues, Plato says that knowledge is extremely rare, it cannot be transmitted by testimony. It entails an ability to give definition or verbal account. Knowledge is understanding what is, but it is not merely knowing something is of so and so nature. But knowledge is to know anything as why it is so. In Theaetetus, Plato describes degrees of knowledge. Plato says that knowledge comes from outside world through our five senses. This is the lowest level of our cognition. It gets converted into images of objects in our mind. We form opinions about it. Level 2 is we develop an approach to look at the things. We can say it a common sense. We get it by a lot of getting into trials and errors. But when we move ahead to next level by developing scientific approach, seeking to understand why things are as they are, and ultimately human beings step up the ladder of the philosophical approach to understand the things in true sense. At this level, theory are themselves evaluated to seek true knowledge. Plato was aware of the nature of human being, that humans can think of anything without any awareness of his or her realms of forms. He gives the concept of a cave. where we all are prisoners and we believe in shadows rather than the reality. Human beings live in a world that is visible to them. What they see, what they hear, what they imagine is what they believe. But that world is the world of change and uncertainty. Because there is difference between two people, that they see and what they hear and so what they perceive, knowledge is not sense and perception, it is true understanding of what is. Hence, there is another world called intelligible world, which is made up of reason alone. This is the world of reality. It contains the eternal forms. They never change. The visible world is made up of illusions, shadows, reflections, poetry, paintings. They are opinions, beliefs, but they cannot be true knowledge. An intelligible world is made up of intelligence, which is the knowledge of the highest and most abstract categories of things, and understanding of the ultimate good. To attain this, Plato offers dialectical processes, where we use reason, hold our passions and emotions to choose the best based on reason and evidence. He gives example of an action called river crossing. An act of river crossing is not a problem. It is a situation where one has to find various ways to cross the river. There is no best way to cross the river, but everyone has to use his intellect to choose the best option for him or her to cross the river. When the person gets this option, this is called knowledge. Here Plato associates his theory of virtue along with the ability of inquiry of what is false and what is true of being. He says that with virtues an intelligence can exert all its power and can be flooded with light. To conclude this part, we can say that Platonic theory of love is mostly misunderstood by the world. It talks about a ladder of love which starts from physical love, but ultimately reaches to experience the purest form of beauty of soul. The experience of any such emotions, it is important to understand Plato's theory of forms. He believes that true knowledge and intelligence have capacity to grasp this world of forms in one's mind. Thank you.